I visited Cotonou in Benin Republic for a conference called Refresher Program of West African Catholic Journalists and Communicators, and we gathered at Saint Jean Ouidah Center in a neighboring town in Cotonou in the Republic of Benin. The Refresher Program 2023 brought together 80 participants from 9 countries, which are Benin, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Senegal, Togo, and of course, the giant of Africa, Nigeria. It's an annual program, and this year, the theme focused on interreligious dialogue and promotion of peace in West Africa. Here's a contribution of communicators and media professionals. I am not going to bore you about what we did in the conference, talking about peace, and about, let peace be in your heart so that you can carry peace everywhere you go. I just want to share with you the trips we made on a particular day to places that may matter or mean so much to us as Africans. A day was specifically devoted to the excursion through a descent into the historic city of Ouidah and Cotonou. In turn, we visited the Temple of Pythons, the Basilica of Ouidah, and the slave routes. Starting with the trip to the Temple of Pythons, guys, I went in there with my full chest. No fear whatsoever. There was no reason for me to fear what I saw other people doing anyway. So the snakes did not harm anyone. I decided to take a picture with a python hanging right there on my neck. And here we are. Note that these snakes are being worshipped by some of the people as a form of religion in Ouidah. Ouidah is the community that worships the python. There is a sanctuary where the spirit of the python is being worshipped. In front of the temple, there's a baobab tree which is said to be more than 600 years old, and around it are some tissues. They call it tissues, and they are the white, the black, the green, and the red. The white is related to water, the rectifier, the black to the air, the green to the earth, and the red to fire. This means that Vodun is based on the 4 elements of nature. Vodun is a religion where Python is being worshipped, and in the Python temple, we could see where Ogun is also being worshipped. The first Catholic church in West Africa is directly opposite the Python temple, which the white missionaries started building in the year 1903. With the help of the Python temple worshippers, who gave them the land in which the church was built, and also helped in supplying building materials like water and sand. These 2 religions were set to work together, as it is concluded that Vodun is not what people think it is. It is said to be totally different from witchcraft. It is a religion where Python is being worshipped, just as the god of iron, Ogun, is being worshipped by people who practice the religion. So they finished building the church in 1909. This means it took 6 years to get the building done completely. It will interest you to know that some of these Python worshippers also go to the Catholic Church to worship. There were moments of history with the immersion in the life of our ancestors who experienced unpleasant situations in their lives. Now, we visited the slave market. The slave market is where slaves were being bought and sold.
Here is the slave market. Okay, and this place belongs to Francisco Felisa de Souza. He is the Portuguese.
Okay.
He is the one that will represent the King Agaja here in Ouidah. All this house that you are seeing belongs to him. They just paint the house, nothing changed. Okay.
We learned that it is going to become a museum, as the government is working hard to make sure it becomes a museum where tourists will come and see what they have in there. You would also find a 500-year-old tree in the compound planted by King Agaja. It is called White Figure. Slaves moved from a town called Abomey to Ouidah in chains, and they were being fed with bread and water once a day. They were being marked by their masters by putting hot iron on their backs or arms in order to identify them. So Francisco is the one that sells them in exchange for something like mirror. For example, they exchange a little mirror for 10 brave men and 15 women. Oh wow! and then to the gate of no return. Then we moved to a place called the Gate of No Return.
The place we call it the Gate of No Return.
Gate of No Return.
Yeah, Gate of No Return. Once they come here, there's no return for them. That is how they were turned from Abome to here. Okay, so I said that this Catholic church that we are doing there, it was built by the missionaries. Once they come here, they have to baptize them. After they baptize them, then they get into the boat. Okay, so they spend 3 months on the road ocean before go there. So there are some slaves that choose to die. They prefer jump inside the ocean to die by themselves. They don't want to go there and suffer.
And then we visited the cemetery of the slaves, also known as the communal grave. At the cemetery of the slaves, it is where slaves who were said to be lazy, tired, old, sick, and those who were not brave were all thrown there and buried alive.
So if you are not brave, if you are not strong, if you are sick, you are tired, lazy, die, they throw all of them here, they bury them alive. Okay, and the red color means the blood of the slave.
And the other represents the position used in throwing them into the wall, which was said to be 10 meters deep. We went further to visit a place called the Dark Room.
The place we call it Darkness Room.
Darkness Room?
Yeah, in the town they have only one boat, and the boat cannot carry all of them go to Europe and America. So they put all of them here in the dark room. So when you are inside the dark room, you will not know where you are because there is no light inside the room. Okay, so you have to notice also that in the slavery trading touch every ethnicity. That's why we have the marker for Yoruba people there.
And we learnt that when a woman slave committed an offense, she was made to sit in a particular position like this, with her mouth tied to prevent her from uttering incantation, and she remained in that position for a whole month. And before slaves were taken to the land of no return, they were made to go round a tree 3 times in order for them not to forget their roots, that even if they do not come back physically, their spirit would come back.
When they come here, they have to turn around 3 times. And that means what? Even if they don't come here physically, one day they must come here spiritually. Their soul must be back. Okay, that's why they turn around 3 times before continuing the route to the Gate of No Return.
Mind you, around this tree, 2 slaves were said to be buried alive for this purpose to be achieved. It was said that the oracle demanded that it be so. The tree, on the other hand, is marked as a tree of vitality, where the fruits are said to give men potency and women a lot of breast milk, but it cannot be plucked. It had to drop by itself before anyone could have access to it. Interesting. And at the end of this slave visit thing, we spent pleasant moments at the beachside. We had lunch, danced to some cool African music. I personally had a long stay staring at the ocean and appreciating the work of nature. It gave me an opportunity to meditate on life generally. It was worthwhile. And then we moved to the Amazon monument. Oh, this statue is so huge. We saw many tourists who came around to see and take pictures with the Amazon statue. Other places were visited before we all departed back to our various countries. A day was set aside for all of us to showcase our African cultural attires. It was beautiful and colorful. This trip gave me opportunity to mingle with my amazing African brothers and sisters. The peace we preach begins with us. Thank you for being with me throughout this journey. My name is Owowo Odubanjo. Peace out.